Hola. So you want to start speaking more Spanish? Great. Today, our objective is to increase your communication skills by learning a boatload of new vocabulary and how to use that vocabulary correctly. Specifically, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to conjugate AR verbs in their present tense. Ready? Let's get started. First of all, present tense just means that you're able to talk about what you are presently doing. Not what you did yesterday or what you're going to do tomorrow, but what you're doing now. First, let's look at that vocabulary. We'll be using the list that you see here. Let's take a few minutes to go over the list. Ayudar, usually followed by a, means to help. Buscar, to look for or to search. Contestar, to answer. Enseñar, to teach. Esperar, to wait for, to expect. Estudiar, to study. Llegar, to arrive. Llevar, to wear or to carry. You've worked that one already. Mirar, to look at, to watch. Necesitar, to need. Pasar, to happen, to pass or to pass by. Preparar, to prepare. Usar, to use. Okay, let's use usar as an example. It's pretty easy because it's short and the meaning is pretty obvious. But if you can conjugate this verb all the way through, you'll be able to take any regular AR verb and conjugate it as well. The concept is the same. What do I mean by conjugation and what do I mean by a regular AR verb, you ask? Good questions. Conjugation is simply taking the verb out of the form you see here, the infinitive. The infinitive is the unchanged form of the verb. In the case of usar, it means to use. We've used verbs in their infinitive form. Remember gustar, me gusta cantar, I like to sing. Te gusta bailar, you like to dance. Le gusta leer, he or she or that formal you likes to read. Sometimes we do want to keep the verb in its unchanged form. Finally, a regular AR verb means a verb that follows a nice regular pattern. Once you can do one, you can do them all. Of course, there are irregular verbs out there, but we don't need to talk about them right now. We also have verbs that end in ER and IR, but we'll save them for another lesson. Let's concentrate on this awesome list of AR verbs that we have right here. Right, you already know that usar means to use. So now, what if I want to say that I am using a computer? So here is what we have to do. We have to drop the AR ending at the end of the infinitive, and then we have to add back on the ending that goes with the subject. Here, the subject is I, so in Spanish, yo. So we'll take usar, and then we'll go ahead and we'll drop that AR ending, and we're going to add back O to make I use. So the full sentence would look like this. Yo uso una computadora. Okay? I use a computer. This means I use, I do use, or I'm using. Now we don't need to add soy, all right? We never want to say yo soy uso una computadora. Never, okay? So nunca, we never ever want to do this. The am is understood. Now I don't really need to use the yo either because the endings for the AR verbs for yo all end in O. So just by saying uso, I already know I'm talking about myself, so I don't necessarily have to have that yo there. Now, we don't have to worry about gender here. So it doesn't matter who the yo is. If a yo is a male speaking, he's going to say yo uso. And if it's a female speaking, she's going to say yo uso. Now, I know we talk a lot about gender in class, especially with nouns and adjectives, but verbs don't have gender. They're actions. The way we figure out what kind of endings we put on them are based on the type of verb that it is. So let's take a look at these endings. AR verb endings in the present tense. So here's our O for yo. Since it's AR verb, we're going to use as. So usas for you use. A is going to be the ending for él, ella, or usted. So it doesn't matter because we have he, it's still going to end in a, okay, because it's an AR verb. Nosotros, amos. Vosotros, ais. Notice the accent over the a. And the ellos, ellas, or ustedes form an. Okay, now we will be working with o, as, a, amos, and an more than we will with vosotros. Remember, this is someone in Spain that would be addressing a group of people informally. The rest of Latin America will use the ustedes form for both formal and informal. So this is our concentration, but it is important for you to know this exists, and you may see the conjugation or need to know the conjugation if I put vosotros on the exam. Okay. Here are some big errors that happen with students when they start conjugating verbs. Big error number 1, forgetting to drop the AR ending before adding on the new ending. So you have to remember to take it off before you can put something on. Big error number 2, changing the endings of the verb based on the gender of the subject. So we just went over that. You don't need to change A's to O's and O's to A's. You just have to look at what endings you need for that verb. And big error number 3, adding a form of the verb ser, like soy, eres, es, before the conjugated verb. We don't need that. It's understood. Okay, so let's try some. Let's try you use a pencil, the informal you. So we're going to say tú usas un lápiz. You use a pencil. So we had to use the AS form because that's the one that goes with tú. And if you go back and look at the chart, you'll see that's the form that we need to use. Now I don't need to put the tú in there, but we'll keep it for now. All right, let's try another one. Él usa un boli. He uses a pen. Now you could have said una pluma here, okay, but he uses a pen. Él usa. We use books. Nosotros usamos libros. We use books. Vosotros, you all, use backpacks, mochilas. You use backpacks. Ustedes usan papel. You, and again, that's a plural. You can be formal or informal. Let's get rid of this, make this lowercase. You usan papel. You use paper. Ellos or ellas usan marcadores. They use markers. Okay, rewatch this video as often as you need to, and make sure you do the examples in the lesson portion of the video. Come to class with questions. Buena suerte.